every WordPress plugin that talks to an external service used to ship its own settings page for the API key. WordPress 7.0 just standardized that into one screen and one core API for every plugin. Here's the pattern every plugin author has shipped 100 times. Hook into admin menu and add an options page. Hook into admin init and register a setting with a sanitization callback. Then write a render function that paints a form, an HTML input for the API key, a nonce field, and a submit button. Every plugin invents this twice, once for the menu entry, once for the field. A site owner ends up with a dozen separate settings screens scattered across the settings menu, one per service. 6 of them mask the key differently. 3 of them store it without sanitizing. None of them know about each other. Here's the same thing in WordPress 7.0. The plugin hooks the WP connector's init action. That action fires during the standard init action, after core registers its built-in, connectors, and auto-discovers AI providers. The callback receives an instance of the connector registry class. The plugin calls register on the registry with a connector ID and an array of details. The required fields are name, type, and the authentication block. Authentication declares the method, API key in this case, the URL, where the user can grab a key, and the option name to read it from later. No options page, no form, no sanitization callback. WordPress core renders the UI for every registered connector. This is what a site owner sees after the plugin is active. They open the settings menu, then connectors. One screen. Every external service every installed plugin uses listed as a card. Each card shows the provider name, its logo, a status pill, and the API key field. The subtitle at the top of the page reads, "Configure once and use everywhere." That single line is the entire feature pitch in one sentence. The site owner pastes their key once, and every plugin that needs that provider can read it. No more hunting through 9 different settings pages to wire up the same provider in 4 places. 3 boxes, 2 arrows. On the left, the plugin. It calls register inside the WP connector's init action, passing its ID and an args array. In the middle, WordPress core, holding the connector registry. The registry collects every connector every plugin registers, keyed by ID, and exposes a few helper functions for reading them back. On the right, the site owner, core exposes the registry through one screen in the admin, the connectors page. The plugin never talks to the UI directly. The plugin describes a connector, and core does the rest. Render the card, save the key, sanitize the value, mask the display. After the init action has fired, any code anywhere in the site can read the registry through 3 public functions. The isConnectorRegistered function takes an ID and returns a Boolean, true if some plugin has registered that ID. The getConnector function takes an ID and returns the full registration array. Name, description, type, authentication details. The getConnectors function returns every registered connector keyed by ID, ready to iterate. The typical pattern is simple. Before calling out to a provider, the plugin checks that it is registered. If it is, the plugin reads the stored API key through the helper, functions core provides, and makes its HTTP request. The API key itself can live in 3 places. WordPress checks them in a fixed order. First, an environment variable named after the provider. For Anthropic, that is Anthropic API key. Second, a PHP constant of the same name, defined in the WordPress config file. Third, the database option that the site owner typed into the connectors page. First match wins. The implication is real. A production site can keep every key entirely out of the database by setting environment variables on the host, the same way most modern stacks already manage secrets. A local development site can use the admin UI for convenience. The same plugin code reads either source. The fallback chain is transparent. 2 known trade-offs to flag before shipping a connector. First, connector credentials are site-wide. There is no per-plugin scoping in WordPress 7.0. Every plugin installed on the site can read every stored key. A malicious or compromised plugin has the same access as a trusted one. The dev note acknowledges this openly. Second, database storage is not encrypted. Keys are masked in the admin UI, but stored as plain text in the WordPress options table. Encryption is being explored in a follow-up ticket, track 64789. Neither one is a bug. Both are documented trade-offs that production teams should weigh before pasting a real production key into the database. Connectors is the architectural shift in WordPress 7.0. It is the piece every AI plugin and every external service integration will build against for the rest of 2026. The current scoping and encryption gaps are documented openly and likely to evolve in an upcoming point release. Next in the Inside WordPress 7.0 series, the Navigation Overlay Designer.